What is going to happen with Carson Beck after he has undergone season-ending surgery on his elbow? And have we been underselling, undervaluing, just simply not talking enough about Ryan Puglisi, who probably goes in if Gunnar Stockton gets hurt at any point during this college football playoff? Let's discuss it. What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. If this is your first time or your 1000th time watching the #1 college football show, please subscribe if you haven't already. Ring the bell so you don't miss any of the segments that we upload here. And like this video. It lets the YouTubes understand you like what we make here, and from time to time, you don't mind seeing more of it. I wonder, do you think Carson Beck should return to Georgia to play another year? Or should he go directly to the NFL? Or should he test his wares, test his market value, in name, image, and likeness on the transfer portal market? You let me know in the comments below. As it stands, I would not be shocked to find out that Carson Beck wants to return to Georgia in 2025 after what was not a great season by his standards at Georgia this year, certainly compared to how he played individually last year. He entered this season as one of those top 10 guys, I think, going in as a Heisman Trophy contender. But not unlike some of the other guys that we thought were going to be contenders at the start of the year, he kind of fell off in a big way. Not as distinctly as, say, Ollie Gordon at Oklahoma State or Donovan Edwards at Michigan, but still quite precipitously. I need to also just couch this for a second. Donovan Edwards rushed for 1,086 yards across 23 and 24 after rushing for 991 alone in 22. It's a dude that got more than 270 carries over the last 2 years and got 140 in his first season running the football 2022, who just hasn't lived up to his billing. Ollie Gordon at least won the Doak Walker Award last year after not doing much of anything this season behind an offensive line that returned. Like, Oklahoma State is a failure for 2024. I think this is the worst season that Mike Gundy's ever coached. And I don't mean that facetiously. I genuinely believe that. There's some moving and shaking needs to be going on up at Stillwater. Not so much at Georgia. Kirby Smart very much has this thing under control. And quiet as it has been kept, he and Mike Bobo and Todd Monken had done a very good job of keeping that quarterback room stocked with dudes. Absolute dudes. Was it always the dude that we think should be starting? Absolutely, positively friggin' not. But there have always been dudes. I'll go back to it, man. We could talk about Jake Fromm and Justin Fields. We could talk about Stetson Bennett, JT Daniels. We could talk about Gunnar Stockton and Carson Beck. He's always had at least one, if not two dudes in the cupboard, ready to go if something should happen to the guy at the one spot. It's one thing to be able to do that on defense or even at wide receiver, even at offensive tackle. That's a trick. But having guys that can step in and play right away and be great at the quarterback position, especially for a defensive-minded coach like Kirby Smart, that's just your recruiting. Your recruiting and retention, right? It's one thing to get them in the door. It's another thing to keep them from leaving. Guys aren't as eager to leave Georgia as they are other places. Less so now that Nick Saban is out at Alabama, right? I think another way of looking at this is Gunnar Stockton is a Georgia legend, depending on who you talk to. I mean, dude's named Gunnar, right? He's named after his granddaddy, who was called Gunnar in the newspaper because he was a gunner on a World War II bomber in the Memphis Belle bit, right? Like that it's such a cool name. And to know that he came by it that way is even better. He's from Tiger, Georgia, which 2,000 feet above elevation. He's got like 600 people from there, dog. Like, he plays for the county high school, but he puts up a ton of numbers, and they were really, really great. And we're talking about Sonny Smart, and we're talking about George Bobo, and we're talking about how they're keeping it in the family. It's a very cool story, and I want Gunnar to succeed. He leads them to a national championship. He's going to be the starting quarterback going into 2025. There's no doubt about that, right? The only way that I think Carson Beck can win that job back is if Gunnar absolutely craps the bed against Notre Dame. Like, I don't see it that way. I think you're going to move on to him, and you're going to tell Carson, we'd love to have you back, because I think they would. I think they would 1,000% love to have the dude back, but probably not at starting quarterback prices, right? Because you're no longer the starting quarterback. As Fat Joe famously has said, yesterday's price is not today's price. And if you're a Gunnar Stockton, you should probably be looking at this like Marlowe and say the price of brick is going up, okay? Because you the QB1 now. Meanwhile, behind Gunnar Stockton, we have Jaden Rashada and Ryan Puglisi. Jaden Rashada is a great quarterback. He's an outstanding quarterback. He's coming back from injury earlier this year. Should be ready to go. Played great at Arizona State for Kenny Dillingham. And you know what? That might be an option. You might be able to go back out there. Maybe you want to compete with Sam Levitt. Maybe that's what it is. There's other places for Jaden Rashada to go, but it feels to me, especially after Kirby Smart said this out loud, Ryan Puglisi is the guy that Gunnar Stockton was, right? He's next up. Puglisi is one of just 3 quarterbacks to compete in Elite 11 and the area code games. College football fan, you watch this show, you know what Elite 11 is. It's where the best high school quarterbacks in the country compete against each other to find out who's the best among them. Area code games, very much the same thing. Archie Bradley, who was at Oklahoma before eventually just forgetting about playing quarterback at Oklahoma altogether after leaving Broken Arrow, has been pitching in the Major League ever since, right? Or I should say, not ever since. Of course, he played his time in the minors, pitched his time in the minors, now he's in the major leagues. Brandon McElwain is also the other dude who has competed in area code games and in Elite 11. That's only 3 guys. Puglisi has also got a 94-mile-an-hour fastball and apparently throwing 70-yard dimes in practice. It feels to me like there isn't really that much of a competition between Puglisi and Rashada. It feels like Puglisi, who committed to Georgia early, who enrolled in Georgia early, who gave up playing a senior year of baseball to get to Georgia early, is your quarterback of the future behind Gunnar Stockton. Good luck to you who wants to compete with him, especially if you're Carson Beck. Now, that said, I think Carson Beck should be playing college football in 2025. I don't know that you're going to be playing it at Georgia. I don't think he should go to the NFL. I think when you look at what Cam Ward's been able to do, when you look at what Dylan Gabriel's been able to do, when you look at the fun that Will Howard's having at Ohio State, you keep going down the line. You get to see these guys that are playing 24, 25 years old that are leading teams into deep runs in the college football playoff conference championships. That's what you want. And there's going to be guys that absolutely want to have Carson Beck services. I mean, take a look at how LSU and Texas Tech have been attacking the portal. If you can get Carson Beck to Texas Tech, would you take him? I think you would. I think there's lots of places where you would look to him and go, I think that guy can help us. I think that guy can lead us to a place where we can go and be great. I hesitate to continue to give you names of places where I think he could land. But I'm going to give you one more. I think Miami ought to do something about this. They find out that the old in the joint is going to rehab well and he's going to be okay. Bring him back in, right? Bring him in. Let's see what he can do with Shannon Dawson's offense. I bet it's throw the ball all over the yard, just like Cam Ward could. Is he the same kind of pocket playmaker? No, but he is accurate with the ball given time. For whatever reason, teams have kind of figured him out and been able to frustrate him. But what Dylan Gabriel is doing at Oregon, what he did at Oklahoma, is no fluke, right? What Bo Nix was able to do after leaving Auburn to go to Oregon is no fluke. And now with Diego Pavea looking like he has won the right to keep playing college football, we might end up with guys that are 26, 27, 28, 29 years old playing college football. That's going to rub so many people the wrong way, but if it's your team that's winning, it's going to rub you just fine. It's going to be like a massage. It's going to be nice on your back. It's going to feel real good. It's going to be like them hot stones that they got over there. It's going to be like the bubble bath that you make it for your old lady. Like that's what it's going to be. But if it ain't, it might feel like scalding hot water. But then again, some of y'all be taking them scalding hot water showers. I can't do all of that, dog. Some of y'all be turning it all the way up on you, talking about, yes, the sauna of hell. It feels real good on my skin. Whatever it is, it's going to rub you well. If it ain't you, and you got to play against one of these dudes that's got 29-year-old players, I'm just going to remind you that that's how Oklahoma built its national championship teams, by going to get dudes that had the GI Bill and had actually been to war and saying, hey, would you like to make war on football? Huh? Would you? Would you like to be a 27-year-old beating the hell out of people? They do that at BYU too. I mean, it's known. Like, you have 23-year-old freshmen because they send them out on the mission, they come back, and they grown. You know, it's like, damn, he married with 2 kids? He a freshman? He's a redshirt freshman. He a freshman? He got 4 years eligibility? Yeah, and he's going to graduate at 27 years old. That's what you're going to be playing against. Everybody's been doing this for some time. It's not new. But I do think that Carson Beck is not done playing college football. I would be shocked to find out he just goes straight to the NFL. He could probably make more money in name, image, and likeness than getting drafted in the 3rd or 4th round, given what the injury diagnosis is. But you know what? We'll wait and see. I think it's more like, what does Ryan Puglisi do, and what does Jaden Rashada do? Because Gunnar Stockton, time is now.